Day 4. What type of coders are there and how are they working together? We're starting to get a better understanding of what complex web apps are. And in the end of these 5 minutes you will have a good understanding on who is doing what in the development of software and how are they cooperating. Web developers can be divided up into 3 broad groups. They are divided up depending on what part of the web app they're building. As mentioned before, a web app has a server part and a client part, and the client part is HTML, CSS and JavaScript, and that part is built by front-end developers. These developers are focused on the structure, style and interactivity of web apps. Some web apps are less front-end heavy than others. For instance, Google is from a design and front-end perspective pretty simple. There's a search bar and a list of results. However, the backend, that is the database in the backend language, the server part of Google, is insanely complex. Just think about the headache trying to order all the world's websites in a single place. So the backend developers work with the server side of things. And the third type of developers, full stack developers, are programmers who are doing both front-end and back-end development. Now to how they are cooperating. In this video I will only talk about the technologies of working together, not the broad management techniques and the philosophy. That is for tomorrow. Think about the projects that the front-end, back-end and full-stack developers are working on. Typically, a software project will have everything from a couple of people to several thousands of people programming. This can cause some trouble. Let's look more closely into that problem because something really cool came out from the solution of that problem. Programmers write documents, but instead of regular English, they are written in programming languages. These documents or files that they write are put in a folder, and this folder of files is the software project. If you're currently writing something that isn't code together with other people, like a business plan or any other document, you can cooperate with people in 2 ways. Either you can send the document to the person you want to cooperate with and get their thoughts on it. You can do this with email, and they can review it and send it back. And when they do that, they can add something to the document name, like Andreas review and the date, so that you know what kind of version it is. Or you can use something like Office 365, Dropbox or Google Drive, and with a solution like this the document is updated constantly. Both these solutions don't really work well with software development. Using Google Drive is problematic because programming is all about logic, and if 2 programmers are changing the same software in the same time, well, then that logic might be broken. And emailing back and forth seems like a lot of hassle. To solve this problem of coordinating all the work between developers, Git was invented by Linus Torvalds. Git is a version controlling system. Git keeps track of all the changes that are made to the software ever. So if 20 people have made changes to a software, there's a list of every single change that has happened to the software, like Andreas changed the font size on the first page, Christina changed the color in the header. This is absolutely amazing because if something is broken later, you can see all the changes that have ever happened to the software and try to figure out what is the problem. The basic workflow is this. Every programmer on the project is downloading a folder of files, and this folder of files is called Git repository. And then the programmers are working throughout the day, they're making some changes to the Git repository, and then they upload the Git repository to the internet. And there are several services for storing these repositories online, and the biggest one is called GitHub. It's like the Office 365, Google Drive or Dropbox for developers. Now to the really cool part that I was promising before. In 2018 there was 28 million public Git repositories on GitHub. This means there was 28 million folders of files that you or anyone else can go and read. This is like having 28 million building blocks for a house that you're going to build, but for free. So a lot of software problems have already been solved by someone else, and you can just watch their solutions on GitHub. So in short, front-end developers are working with client-side technologies like HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Back-end developers are working with the server side of things like the database and the back-end language. And full-stack developers are working with both front-end and back-end development. And Git is a system for making sure that different versions of the software is tracked. And GitHub is a platform for storing Git repositories. if you want to look at the beautiful world of GitHub, they have an explore section where you can see what other people are working on, and the address to that one is in the link below.